Well, folks, welcome once again to another installment of Flying with Mike. We're here today down under, pretty far down under too, if you really take a look at the map. We're down in Melbourne, Australia, getting ready to cross the Pacific, South Pacific, that is, over to Christchurch, New Zealand. Many of you may know New Zealand, especially the Southern Island. If you're a Lord of the Rings fan, that's where most of it was filmed. So, but we are sitting at the gate right now, getting ready to take on the passengers for this trip. And we just fueled up. The caterers have been in and out, and we should be looking at getting ready to go here. And we're sitting in the cockpit right now. Let's do a quick cockpit acceptance, then we'll go into the pre-flight and get this thing going. Cockpit acceptance wise, we've got the utilities on, the battery switch on, standby power is set to auto, the external generators are on, bus tie is connected, set to auto, gen connects are on with off displayed underneath. Demand pumps are all off except pump 4, which is on auxiliary, as well as the engine pumps, they're all on with press underneath. Real quick, let's do a fire test. And trying to see if there's anything else we need to knock out here. Okay, nav lights are on, logo lights are on, window heats are on, yaw dampers are on, and landing gear lever is down, alternates off for both flaps and landing gear. Flaps are 0, showing 0, speed brakes are down, thrust closed. All right, folks, that is the acceptance checklist pre-flight. All right, so now we're into the pre-flight brief. We have accepted the cockpit already. As you can tell, the IRSs are aligned, but let's go ahead and go up and go through it so you all can see it. Here are your IRS, L, C, and R. Let me help out a little here. Since the tool is available, let's use it. So we're using the aviation light that comes default with the aircraft. Get the trim air on so we can start boarding passengers. Okay. All right, so the left, center, and right IRS are, you basically individually click them with the button looking like you're moving it to the right to align and then nav. To align, then nav, to align, then nav. Okay, right above them are your EEC switches, otherwise known as electric engine control switches. Make sure the guards are down and they're in normal or norm. Okay, we tested the fire protection already. The interrupt switches are good. Passenger oxygen's guarded. Flight deck lights are set. Stab control cutout switches need to be in the auto position. So let's come down one more time, a little further down. Your stab control is right here. They're in auto for cutout. And then we're going to get the FMC programmed and the MCP program, and the hydraulics are already set. As you can see, we have the demands off except for number 4, which is in auxiliary. The engine pumps are all on with press illuminated below. The press lights will go out. The drive lights and the off lights will go out when the engine respectively for that one turns on. Okay, so let's get the flashlight off for now, get down here, finish up our FMC work that we've been doing. Okay, so what we've done to date, we've gone through, I'll go ahead and go through them with you. We've done the ident page. We made sure everything's up to date. Then we went to the initialization page. We put the airport in YMML. That is our correct coordinates. And we just basically move this into GPS settings so we're up to date. Then we click route. There's our departure airport. There's our arrival airport. Folks, I doubt this is a real flight. I just made it up. And then you would click execute. Now from here you click departure, DEP A. Here, let me zoom in. Probably make it a little easier on people's eyes. There we go. Okay, so we click DEP APARR. Sorry, so DEP ARR. That brings up the departure arrival index. You can see there's YMML and NZCH. So we'll click departure. We chose the departure that's planned for this run. But to do this, you first have to choose the runway. We're using runway 34. Once you select that, then you're able to select. Now, at first, they will show up as SEL. So letting you know that's what you've selected. When you click execute, they become active. All right, so then we come back to flight plan. That will then be via course 9 to course. Okay, then you come down to the next page and you start pumping them in. And in this case, we could start right off with the airway because it went to course. So Yankee 260 to Echo. You just type it in down here. It'll show up here, and then you click the line select keys appropriate. Same with this one. Okay, then I always like to come to the legs page, kind of go through it, make sure no discontinuities are showing up as of yet. Now we're stopped at Molgi, and the reason being is, and I didn't go over this in the pre-brief, but the weather right now, as of 17:30Z, which is almost an hour old, has our winds at 110 at 08. We're still within runway 2, but it's now becoming a variable wind, which by the way was in the TAF that I looked at prior to the stream, 040 to 190. So we're going to keep our eyeballs on that. And there's no NCD, 15 degrees out there Celsius, 2 degrees Celsius on the dew point. Just remember, it's summertime down there in New Zealand and Australia. They're south of the equator. So it's their summer. So that means, folks, when it's our Christmas, it's nice and warm down there. When it's our 4th of July here in the U.S., it's when it's nice and snowy in some of these places far enough south. I'm not sure how. I know New Zealand sees snow, but I can't speak for Australia. So just something, interesting to always keep in the back of your mind. Right now, they're on the beach. And not the Florida beach. We're talking summer beach. So imagine Florida in the summertime. Okay, so continuing on with the FMC setup here. Let's come back to the route. We'll move over to the performance page. There's our 51,000. Now it's marked in here 51.0. It's kilograms times 1,000. So always keep that in mind. And as I know of yet, you cannot put in like 51.1 for your upload. You have to do it to the nearest number. So, and there it is showing here, same way. So we click the line select next to ZFW, and that gives us our zero fuel weight, which is always going to be different than what we get from SimBrief. I just have to get in here and figure out aircraft weights. Okay, 19.3 is our reserve. Cost index is 100. Flight level 370. Shows up correctly. And for our step size 2,000, which I do not believe is modeled at this time. So that gets us our initial. Now they're showing a CG of 20. I've actually got another program that I use for that, and we'll check it up against it here. All right, so moving over to our thrust limits. The program I use is Professional Flight Planner and TopCat. They're pretty much the same company, but I can get a little bit more information out of TopCat than I can Professional Flight Planner, but they generally work themselves out pretty decently. So speaking of which, TopCat has us at a 19.5 with our zero fuel, 22.9 center of gravity with our takeoff weight. So, you know, it's close. And let me bring it over to here. Update the weather real quick. And compute. See what they come up with. Sometimes they're a little different. That's why I want to see. Just like today, Professional Flight Planner actually and SimBrief are pretty close on the fuel levels, off by a couple of 100 kilograms. All right, so they're going, okay, I can accept that. Okay, so we're going to go with takeoff 2. So we click that. They're going with a select temperature of 51. So we'll put 51. And I do not know if this is fully up and running. Okay. I'm going to go with climb 1. Then we go to the takeoff page. Now, they're calling us to a flaps 10 departure. And that is not anywhere near. Let's see, though. That is near. Okay, so what we'll do for V1, we're going to go with 146. Okay. V rotate, 151. Their V2 is 159. I'm going to go with 160, which is what's showing. Now, don't be fooled. It will say it now. If you were to just leave it as 160, it's not loaded in. Now, see, they're showing a CG now of 30. That's not correct. But we're going to go with it because we really, it really could mess things up on the flight. Let's try to keep that to a minimum. I do that well on my own, let alone letting the aircraft get updated correctly. So, all right, now the other number here, keep this in the back of your mind. Let's see who's all in the chat area. Keep this in the back of your mind. The amount of runway that we should have remaining leaving the ground is 1,506 feet. Who knows? Maybe I'll test y'all. So, flight plans in the chat. For those of you wanting to try and tag along, I'm just getting us loaded into POSCON real quick. 744. And let me get us a squawk code. Okay, and send. Okay, you may hear a ping here in a minute when it comes back, either saying to file a flight plan, which I have, or they gave us a squawk. We'll see. Whoops. Oh, and they gave us a squawk, 3135. Okay, 3135. All right, so we've got the FMC program now, folks. Everything's good to go there. Now we're going to move on to the next checklist item, which is the MCP. And that is here in the middle. Basically, 160 will be 170. Runway is 341. And I'm just setting it to runway heading right now. I'll adjust if there's any need to when we go to the departure brief. 37,000. Okay. And do a quick down and dirty, if you will, on our MCP. Okay, coming down with the DH. I don't know if you see it. I'll show it to you here in a minute. It's now at 100. It's located there. We're going to do the MDA now. First, you got to switch the outer ring. It didn't switch. There it goes. We'll go with 900 actually, we'll bring it down to 800. Oh, no, 900. I'll stick to my guns on that. 900. Okay, and then we want to make sure everything map is set right. Our range, I'm going to go with 10. Believe it or not, that's well. Flight director on, Toga Toga. Okay, we'll go over to 6. Flight director's on. Same thing. Bringing down the decision height to 100. It's just something I use, folks. And then run up the barrow to 900. Okay. We'll leave the first officer set at 40. Oh, and make sure to set your what you want displayed here, VOR or ADF. All depends on the flight you're flying. And of course, company policies. And again, verify the altimeter setting. I just got a discrepancy, 1008. Weather changed at 040, now it's 6. Still KVOC in 1008. We're still good for the runway we're selected, 34. And okay. So continuing on. So we have now finished the pre-flight briefing down to the hydraulic system. Let me bring it back to engine. So let's get back up top. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on our flashlight again. So it makes it a little easier. Okay, so fuel pumps. We're going to keep those off until we're ready for the APU. We won't use cross feeds because we're set up where all tanks are even. So we're going to be flying in what's called tank to engine. Each engine has tanks that pump directly to them. Then through these cross feeds, they connect the pipe up so that all engines feed off of all tanks. Mainly when the center is full, but you still draw down till you're about even in all of your tanks. So right now we'll leave them off. Audio system is normal. Interphone switches are off. Voice recorders off. Anti-ice, which is here, is off. All right, so let's get the air conditioning system set up. Window heat, both of them are on. Yaw damper is on, both switches. Outflows are off. Air conditioning on. Trim air on. Recirculation upper and lower on. We'll keep the cargo heat off for now. The ECS, or equipment cooling system, is at normal. High flow is open or on. Pack 1 set to normal. Left and right isolation are both on. Packs 2 and 3 are off until we get started, and all of our lights are good. Okay, so let's move down again. Okay, continuing. Speed brake lever is down, throttle's closed. Fuel control switches at cutoff. Flaps are 0 and 0. Radios are set. We're going to double check here. Now they're set. This is the guard channel. This is the other guard channel. This was common traffic for yesterday's flight. This is Unicom for if we need to use it today. Okay, continuing. Auto brakes. They want us to go to reject at this time. I do that when I taxi. We got our clearance. That was 3135. Okay, there we go, and we will go on. Flight deck doors closed. Moving on to the before start. Oh wait, and today we're flying passengers, so let's make sure we turn on the passenger signs. Refueling's complete, so we don't have to worry about that. Back to the top now. We are getting ready to fire up the APU, so we're just going to turn on the main, which is the inboards back pumps. We're going to turn those on. APU to on. And it's firing up at this time. If you ever want to watch it fire up on this screen, just click stat. There it goes. Little faster than normal, but you know, those are those little things that only those around them a lot would know. Okay, and we're at 100%. And everything's settling down. We'll go back to engines. Oops. and our generators are available. Now we can't make the external power unavailable, unfortunately. So for now, we're ready to start up. So let's get everything going. Fuel pump wise, we're going to check the brake pressure. That's here. You know, this aviation light works really nice. Shipping papers, people are on board, performance status checked and set. MCP, which is your control panel here. 170 for our climb out, 341 is runway heading, 37,000 is what we're climbing to. Stab trim, or V1, is 146, rotate 151, and V2 160. And now I'm getting rid of the aviation light. So folks, let's take a quick break here. We'll be right back to do the push and start. And we are back in the cockpit now. Mac Air shows us on. Hey, someone else is heading into the New Zealand area. To Auckland. Okay. Just wanted to make sure we were showing. All right, folks. So we are at the point for push and start. So to do that, we have to fire up better pushback. And a few days ago, somebody new to explain. And by the way, Bob, GTG, thank you for the follow. We sure appreciate it. Looks like it was about 5 hours ago, so I just want to put that shout out there. Takes my laptop a little bit to fire up, you'll find out. But hey, we appreciate you joining us. But anyway, they asked what are some must-haves for X-Plane, and this is one of those must-haves. As the title says, better pushback. I've actually never tried default pushback, so I don't know, what's good, what's bad. But all you do is basically set up the way you want to push back, and then click your mouse, click enter.
Round to cockpit. Sure you we got your plan there. Give me a call through the menu when you're ready to go.
Sometimes you get correct voices, sometimes you don't. I don't know what logic is used in that.
Yeah, ground to cockpit. Toast driving up right now.
But it is what it is. Sometimes, like when you're in Hong Kong, you would expect a more Far Eastern English accent. Last time I got US accent. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the logic in the program to that. But anyway, while we're waiting on him, we've gone through the before start checklist. Let's do the final. We need the beacons on. Make sure the APU bleed is on. In the checklist that I'm using, it is not in there.
Alright, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Then the last thing you need to do right now, actually you can do it at any time, but I do it, I try to remember, remove the chocks. While you're here, do your last checks. Okay. He's in the process right now of hooking up. And we'll get the call for the start. Now the start, we're going to actually use the flashlight one more time.
Toe connected and bypass pin inserted. Release the parking brake when you're ready.
Okay, so we're going to get one.
Alright, starting the pushback, and you may spool them. Clear to start engines.
Okay, I didn't have the parking brake on. That's fine. Okay, and they are spooling. We are moving. And there you can see they've been lit off. And we're going to go ahead and arm 2 and 3, but they won't start until we pull the fuel control levers up. And you can see those cutting out. Okay, well, we're done. The flashlight up top. They're stable, so we'll go ahead and get 2 and 3 going. And you can see we're almost lined up on the line. There may be a little jog here. I don't get why he does that, but he is.
Alright, mate. Operation complete. Go ahead and set the parking brake. Alright, mate. Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Alright, so there he goes, disconnecting the tow. We're going to move. Okay, so we're in the after start check right now. Okay, so ignition to continuous. That is this switch right here. Auto on all our pumps. APU can now go off. Hydraulics to auto. Anti-ice as needed. We'll go ahead and run with engine since we know there's rain showing up on SimToolkit. KVOC showing up on the METAR.
Tow is disconnected. Bypass pin is removed. Thumbs up on the left and catch you next time. Have a safe flight.
Alright, so let's move that to auto, and I'm gonna one more time hit the aviation light, make sure we're all set properly. Okay. And then basically we're left with the downstairs here. Okay. Recall. Oh, we didn't get the packs. I missed those in the checklist. Hang on a second. There we go. And that's why I like to read before I hit cancel. And recall. Okay, everything's good there. Only thing left to do is a flight control check, which always is a pain. Alright, they're going to be hard to see anyway, but we'll just get rid of them. Alright, so basically what we can do here, since this is actually more realistic, I know seeing the sticks and all move in the cockpit is actually probably more real, but truly they can't look out the window and see the end of the wings. Think about that long and hard, folks. So they go to the stat page. Right here is their controls. So when they go left, it shows proper indications. If it doesn't, we don't go anywhere. And when they push in on the stick, pull back on the stick, the elevators are moving. If they're going in the wrong condition, we don't go anywhere. And then finally, they kick the rudder pedals left and right. Again, they don't move or they go backwards. Guess where it goes? To the shop. Too many pilots skip this because it takes too much time. Now, Boeing, in many of the videos I've watched, well, we don't have the sticks pulled up. Behind the control stick is a little solenoid deal gizmo, we'll call it. Use a heavy Boeing terminology here. There's a switch on it, and that will rotate it all axes to make sure everything's working fine. You can watch the stick go left and right, forward and back, the whole 9 yards. So the laziest of lazy 747. And folks, to get to the level of a 747 pilot, you shouldn't be lazy. You are actually flying the queen of the skies. So, okay, so enough on that. But again, many pilots do, and yes, crashes do occur because they didn't check to make sure the surfaces were free, because the locks were still engaged, because they didn't check. They were in a hurry. All right, so flaps are 10 for this departure. All right, so we're set to flaps 10. They're transiting. And folks, we're ready to taxi. Okay, and we'll give a quick signal to the marshaller, which of course isn't out there, but okay. We'll go ahead and turn the wing lights on. And we are on our way, folks. It's a little bit of a taxi down to runway 34. So, folks, we'll catch you on the other side here. Let me just get around the corner here. But we'll catch you down at the departure end for runway 34 to do the before takeoff checklist. The taxi checklist, taxi lights are on. Landing lights, we're not turning on yet. And EFIS is all set, so we'll see you at the end of the runway. All right, YouTube folks, welcome back. We are now approaching runway 34. All right, folks, it is time for us here in just a second to bring the aircraft to a halt, and we'll do the before takeoff checklist. Okay, and here we go, making that final turn to line up. Well, actually, we've been told to hold short, so we shall. Okay, so we're holding short now. All right, so let's do the before takeoff checklist. Okay, for this checklist, a couple of items. We need to make sure the MCP is set. One last check. Okay, hang on a second. Let's just drop down. We'll do the V speed of 146 for V1. Rotate is 151. V2, 160. Set to 170 on the climb out. 340 was requested in the SID. And 370 or 37,000 for departure. Auto brake is on. I'm sorry, auto brake is reject takeoff. And you can see that here. Auto throttle is in the armed position. My bad there, folks. Let's go ahead. Also dropping down, get our transponder all the way over to TA/RA 3135. Just making sure 3135. Okay. And welcoming everyone to the flight. Hope y'all enjoy the takeoff here. Okay, clocks. Well, I didn't set this one over here, so we'll get it running now. We'll get the one on the pilot side here once we're lined up. Recall, flight attendants notified. Now, takeoff. Basically, we're going to line up, head down the runway. We'll first come to 60, with brakes on, 60% on our N1. Now, how we find that, as you look here, let me see if I can zoom in. Okay, see where it says N1, so these gauges here. We're going to bring the engine levers, as you can see, they're right here, up to just below NAI for the engine anti-ice. If the wing was on, you'd see, I forget what it says. There's one setting that'll show that here as well. But anyway, we're going to bring these lines up to NAI. When they stabilize, we're going to release the brakes, let the aircraft start rolling, and then we're going to go into what's called toga. And what the real guys do, well, you can't see it from that angle. I don't know if you'll be able to see it from this one. There are buttons right about here. You push them, she goes in, the throttles will go forward, and the aircraft takes off under the MCP's control, under the FMS MCP control, autopilot, if you will. So at as soon as we rotate at 151, we're going to set 6 units of trim up. Not, sorry, 6 units on our, so about right here is where we're going to have our nose up at. Climb out. And then at 1,500 feet, level into what we call acceleration up to 240 knots. And then continue on. Then we'll do our after takeoff checks. So if you all are ready, I'm just going to do one last check to make sure POSCON isn't surprising me today. They haven't yet, but you never know. And nope, I don't show anyone down in our area there. Okay, so here we go, folks. Let me just kind of take care of these guys so we don't lose them. And folks, if you do like what you see, join us by simply clicking follow, and that'll allow you to receive an email letting you know where we're heading on our next trip. When we go live, it'll tell you. So we're going to right now take the runway. Before takeoff checklist complete. Only thing we got to do now, turn the strobes on. Strobes are on. Once we're lined up, cleared for takeoff, we will turn the lights on, turn the pilot's or captain's timer on, and prepare for takeoff. And just see how many were listening in. Feel free to put it into the chat, but how much runway should we have remaining if this aircraft is set up properly to the performance data? And we'll give it just enough time for us to get into position here. Okay. All right, folks, we are lined up. The answer, since I didn't get any in the chat room, came from TopCat. It says we should have 1,508 feet of runway if this plane is set up for the proper performance. Okay, let's turn the timer on. Lights are coming on. All right, now if we were really super heavy and we needed to be mindful of our runway, density, altitudes, and all of that, we could turn packs off, folks, to help our engines get more power developed. Not going to be a problem today. But say like we go to Bagram Air Force Base over in Afghanistan, you might want to think about turning 2, if not all 3 off to get the most climb and takeoff performance out of your plane. All right, so, but we again do not need that today. We're going to throttle up. Now, let me zero in. As you can see, we want to bring these levers up to 60 so we get a little more out of them. They are stable. We're going to go ahead and release. Toga. You can tell that. You can see it's all armed. And we're rolling. Airspeed's alive. .80 knots. And we are at takeoff power.
V1. Rotate. V2.
It's not bad, folks. Really, it really is not bad. We're climbing up. Gear up. Okay.
Gear up.
VNAV's on. We're going to go ahead and turn on the autopilot. Flaps to 5. Let's go ahead and go to 1. And we're Okay, we are on our way, folks. Got a little fast there. Okay, so after takeoff checklist, positive rate of climb, we've got the gear up and now off. That's right here. Flaps are up. They are retracting as we speak. Auto brakes are off. Verified here. And autopilot has been engaged. Make sure there isn't any more till 10,000. 10,000 feet, of course, is where we're going to take our transition level as well
10,000 feet.
As our landing lights. So hang on a second here. We're just setting our speeds up to 300. Five. Continuous can come off. Auto lights are off. Wing lights, we're going to go ahead and turn those off as well. And as you can see, the sun is coming up. Okay. Just making our turn to go to Geeden, which we had to be above 10,000. All right, let me check something here. Okay. Okay, and we are climbing up now, heading to Geeden, I believe is how you pronounce this. And because we had troubles on our way to Denver, we are going as we should. Okay, good deal. All right, folks, we're on our way.
18,000 feet.
Yeah, we know, 18,000. Oh, that would be because I didn't do that when I was told to. Okay, and I know, it looks kind of weird what I'm doing here, folks. And we're making the turn now out to Coors. All right, folks, we will watch the aircraft here and hope for the best. Pray we make it into Christchurch. So we are on our way, folks. Y'all have a great Wednesday here, and we're gonna cue up some music keep it in the background here, relatively at a lower level. And y'all have a great day. All right, folks, we have reached top of climb. We are settled in at 37,000 feet, 0.84 on the Mach. We are currently 164 miles from Echo, and that's ECKHO. Folks, we're on POSCON. If you want to join in, find an airplane out of Australia. We're headed for Christchurch. We'll be in Christchurch if you want to come out of New Zealand and land with us. We'll be in the New Zealand area, about lost my place here. There we are, 2 hours and 20 minutes. So about 2 hours from now we'll be in Christchurch. So folks, relax, enjoy the ride, enjoy your Wednesday, and we will be seeing you here. Oh, we'll be on the whole time. We'll be off and on for the YouTube folks, but we'll be here, and hope you enjoy this ride from Qantas. Uh, Millennium Aviation is the airline we're flying for today. One of their Qantas flights we're doing, and just coasting out from Australia into the South Pacific. So enjoy the flight, and hope you have a great Wednesday. We'll still be here all the way. Those of you on Twitch, feel free to join in, hit the chat room, and we'll continue on with the ride here. mess. All right, so we're back in the cockpit here. Let me zoom her down to the FMS. That's where we're going to start. And I'm going to get a couple things up here for me to refer to make sure things are set right. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go to the FMS now. We're going to click Departure Arrival, DEPARR, for those of you who may not be familiar with the terms we use here. Now, on this, we're going to select where you see NZCH. That's our arrival airport. And we're going to do the arrival tab next to it. Now, our arrival is MOLG 4 Alpha. We're going to scroll down to that. And somewhere down here, MOLG, there it is. And we're going to click the line select key. That's what these are called, line select keys. Left, right, numbered top to bottom. So this 2L will give us MOLG or MOLG 4A, and that's now under select. We're going for the, let me check, hang on. We are doing the ILS DME runway 2. Just want to see something. Okay, I just saw something on there, so I wanted to pull charts up to take a look. Oops. To make sure I'm not steering us wrong. All right, so what I saw was this ILS 2-N. We want this ILS 2. We're coming in off of this transition. You can see they're all select. This isn't the greatest. This should be a lot brighter so we know to click execute to make it happen. Now they move to active. Verifying this, all we have to do is, here's our fixes coming in, all the way into and including our missed approach. Okay, so Xcoda is 87 miles out. We still have cabin, which is 47 miles after it, and then 65 miles later, we will be over Mulgi. Now, we very well will be into our top of descent by then. So let's go back to this. We're now 189 miles out, which translates out pretty good here. Okay. So again, looking through here, and we'll go over, I'm just going to verbally go over it with y'all. Ikoda to Mulgi to CH739, and that is at or above 16,000 feet. Then we have Dovum at or above 15,000, CH503, which is 13 at or above 13, at or above 10,000 at CH416, Hodi at or above 6,000, CH621 at or above 4,000, at or above 3,000 at ID UBU, the initial transition fix for the ILS runway 2. We also have to be slowed under 210. And just for a reminder, the ID UBU is approximately 12 miles. So we'll probably be in the neighborhood of 200 to 210, but we'll be slowing to 180, if not all the way to 160. So obviously that means flaps are going to be coming in and all that good stuff. All right, folks. So close that out, get rid of that. Okay, get back up here. Finally, the V speeds for this run. Okay, currently they're showing 320 and 13. I just did an update here, and we're on runway 2. We are looking at a we're going to be looking at a VREF of somewhere between 144, oh gosh, excuse me, and 149. I'm sorry, correction, 144. Our approach, approximately 149 to 150-ish. We're not going to do an auto land. Well, we'll see. Nothing, who knows how the weather will actually depict itself in X-plane when we get there. But right now, I'm planning to fly it in myself. So again, we're going to probably come down at 160, and as we draw into the runway, I'll pull us back to 150 so we can then touch down and go into reverse. We'll be using auto brakes 3 for the landing, and we are looking at a required distance of 7,858 feet, leaving us approximately 2,929 feet. Plenty of runway there to work with. So that should be the conclusion to our arrival brief. Right now, I am not going to set our transition. We're, still a little ways out. But looking at our FMS, we are 288 miles from the airport. Top of descent now 140 miles. So folks, I'm going to pull back here for just a few more minutes, come back as we're reaching top of descent, and we start into our descent, and we'll go in from there. And as always, thanks for flying with Mike. If you like what you see, like what you hear, want to be a part of our next flight, click that follow button. That follow button lets me know I'm doing something people like, and more importantly, it gives you an email notification letting you know the next time we're flying, from where to where, and sometimes the aircraft we're using. So feel free to use that follow button. We would really appreciate it. And we're going to get back to some music here, maybe 1 or 2 tunes, and then we'll be at top of descent. So again, thanks for flying with Mike. We're at 37,000 feet, Mach 40 on the airspeed, correction, Mach decimal 84, and looking to be at the top of descent here at about 130 miles. See you then. All right, folks, we're 50 miles out of our top of descent. And currently about the same from Mulgi, which is the start of our arrival. Just getting things firmed up here. And in that interlude with the music, we got our current Q&H put in of 999 on both sides. We're switching over to the DH and to check. I just always check them that by just turning them. Okay, and the DH is this one, which is 100 feet. All right, so folks, we are approaching New Zealand. Right now the scenery looks kind of horrible, so we're just going to kind of pan down to here. And we're going to go ahead and start setting in our arrival. Let's see here. We need to be at or above 16,000. So we'll dial that in first. Okay. And just kind of wait till we get within 10 or 20 miles of top of descent. So that's about a couple of minutes here. So beyond that, all we'll need to do is start our descent checklist. Passenger signs, we're going to go ahead and turn those on at this time, even though they're in auto. We're going to set our auto brakes to 3. And we got our frequencies set up. All right, so let's come back up here to the center to find we are now 34 miles out of top of descent. Okay, so pressurization is checked, and you can see the quick look right here. Recall. And you saw the recall. We'll do it one more time. Recall, and nothing comes up, so we're in good shape. Auto brakes are set. Approach briefing completed. Transition altitude. We will turn the ignition system to continuous. And so you know where that is, that switch is right here under the engine starts, especially engine start for number 2. But we won't be turning that on until we get down to 15,000 or so, maybe 13 for the transition. And then finally, the minimums have been set up on our displays, and we are now 25 miles out of top of descent. So bear with me here a few more seconds. We'll try by pushing the altitude select button here, pushing it in, see if that sets us into the descent. If not, we'll click VS, set our descent, set our speed. And while we're doing this real quick, okay, that looks good. Yeah, we'll go with that. And that's, by the way, folks, the default FMS. It's still within this bird. All you have to do is click on the first officer side to get it to pull up. All right, so now we're starting to see a lot more of Australia. Boy, if we were seeing Australia, folks, we're way off course because we're almost ready to come back into Melbourne. This is New Zealand. Pretty good mountain range here we're getting ready to fly over. Again, very impressive scenery by X-plane. And desolate oceanic water. Oops, there we go. Let me pull us up here. And better yet, go here. I am going to go ahead and try and start us down. Well, it might have take. Let's watch. What I'm going to do is slow us to 80 on the Mach. And at the same time, All right, folks, we have begun our descent. One last check. Our signs are set. No smoking, which today would probably say electronics, and seatbelts on. All right, folks, we have begun our descent into Christchurch. We will see you as we get in closer. Kind of appropriate music coming into New Zealand. Song is titled Dragonfire by Sega, and I just think that's kind of appropriate for the Lord of the Rings territory we're coming into. Anyway, y'all sit back, relax, enjoy the ride in. Okay, folks, I'm going to jump in here real quick. We just crossed CH503. We're setting our descent now to at least 10,000 feet, if not more. Okay, and we crossed transition level at 13,000. What we've done, turned our ignition to continuous. We got our lights still off. They'll remain till 10,000 feet. We'll go ahead and turn our wing lights on. Verify our cabin light or signals are on. And hang on a second here. Passenger signs are on. And we're set to come down to 10,000 feet now. Airspeed I've set to 240. I'm going to dial this down a little. Go ahead and turn on our traffic just in case. Let y'all, and I hope you enjoyed some of that terrain as we came in. Now granted, it won't be visible on YouTube probably, because I'll probably edit it out. But that was pretty cool coming in. We'll see though. Like I said, that was pretty cool. We're coming up on 10,000 feet and we'll need to slow under 250. And then our next fix will be Hootie, and that's 6,000. So I'm going to go ahead and dial that in. And push
10,000 feet.
See if it's going to start us down. That's okay. We'll okay. We'll try at 18 just to make sure. And again, these are at or above. So, and the next one after Hootie is 4,000 and 3,000 at our initial. This one's always been tricky to me when I used to fly this with Sim Air Force coming back in the 130. Even though I'm so much slower, it still throws me off getting it down to the right altitudes. Just one thing after another always gets me screwed up. So I want to check one thing while we're here. And our ILS is tuned in now. Cat 1 for the runway 2, 109.9. They're showing 15 degrees. So we'll see how that actually translates. And I'm going to go ahead and put us on our legs page. Hootie is coming up. And we are going to set to 4,000. And we're going to begin slowing. Because after this, at IDBU, we got to be at 210. So let's go ahead. Okay. Going to go ahead and steepen our descent. And we're going to pop out some speed brakes. And let's get up here and get those lights on. Okay, so okay, we're setting her up for 3,000 and 210. Actually, we're going to go to 200. And we're about to drop through the flap speed. So let me get this last song going, and hopefully we'll be then on the localizer. Alright, localizer, let me just zoom in. ICH 18 miles, glide slope. Okay. There we go, starting to slow. We'll go on up to 210 now. Speed brakes in. And we're going to go with flaps 5. Okay, and a final check of our weather here. Did this again. Still 999. Okay, so weather is good. All right, folks, I am going to go ahead, arm the localizer. Again, slowing to 180. Flaps 10. And let's go ahead and arm the speed brakes. At this point, okay, distance 11 miles. We are firming up. And there's glide slope. All right, we're not going to mess with that anymore. Gears coming down. Flaps to 10, or I'm sorry, to
2,500.
Gear down.
And I got the runway in sight. We're slowing to 160. All right, let's get firmed up here. Slow to 155. Flaps 25. And we're going flaps 30. Okay. Well, if the speed brakes don't arm up, auto brakes are. Okay, we're okay, we are on the glide path up.
1,000.
up a little. Okay, on localizer, actually drifting a little bit. Winds are pretty brisk. Okay, missed approach altitude set, speed set, flaps 30.
500.
Speed brakes, hopefully armed. We'll find out on the ground.
400.
Okay,
300.
stabilized.
200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
And we're gonna, oh, we are gonna be able to get off here. Let's see. Looks like A3. All right. All right, folks, and I see I Talk Games Live. Hang on a second. I'll be with you here as I come off the runway. Crud. Overcompensated, of course. There we go. All right, hang on a second. Terrain radar off. Flight directors off. Okay. Let's take a look here. Okay, I Talk Games Live. I like that. You're following us to start with here. I saw a question in here. Hang on a second. I'm going to do it the easier way. And thank you. Hang on a second here. Okay, I Talk Games Live. This is what's called the. First off, we're an X-Plane. If you didn't know, the Sparks744 mod takes the default 747 400 for X-Plane, updates it quite a bit. I mean, it's a pretty amazing update from what the default aircraft looks like. So that's the aircraft we're in. I'll get you the link to how you can get a hold of it, and it's just basically you can do it one of two ways. We'll show you that once we get parked here. Flaps, let's do the after landing checklist. Landing lights off. Whoop. Strobes. Oops. All right. Actually, this is a pretty good rendition of, well, at least images I've seen. I've never been to Christchurch. Believe me, if I'd been to Christchurch, I wouldn't be living in St. Louis. Beautiful country, it looks like, around it. All right, so back to the stab trim to 6. And that's where it's at. Checklist, transponder to standby. What we're going to do is just take it to on. Auto brakes are off, and APU is the only thing we need to get going. Well, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and take this spot right here. And I overdid it again. Dang it. All right, landing taxi lights off. Wing lights off. Okay, and here we go, taking her into the gate. Of course, we get the nicety of being able to look at all different kinds of angles. But I hope that answered your question there. As soon as we get parked, I'll bring up the site for you in the chat. That way, if you would like this for X-Plane, it's free, by the way. So most people like the word free. Now, there are 2 versions of it. There was a release of this modification back in November. Now, that modification has there are some errors with it that'll occur, but these are all known problems that they've subsequently fixed, but you've got to go with the latest versions to find it now, and I'll show you how that's done. Okay, I think we're safe enough here. All right, so we are in the stand here in New Zealand. Let's go through the securing the aircraft. Parking brake, anti-ice off, APU on the gen and the bleed air. Taxi lights are off. Clocks, oh yeah, I guess I ought to turn those off. And we'll go over those too here in a minute. And electrical, make sure we're on APU gens. APU bleed, let's drop down to here and shut them down. Two, 3, and number 4. Okay, passenger signs off. Fuel pumps off, except for the 2 inboard rear pumps. That'll be for the APU. And our hydraulics are all turned off. Anti-ice is off. And folks, we are shut down here. There we go. Try and get a good look at this bird, at the queen. There we go. All right, folks, this is New Zealand. Now, the question was, hang on a second. All right, for our latest follower, I Talk Games Live. here is the link to the 747 I'm flying, and it includes this Qantas livery. Now, when you go to the site, I'm not going to bring it up here so y'all can see it. The release that I was talking about that has known issues they know about, and on their Discord channel can walk you through what you need to do to update it. That is under releases here on the right hand side. Let me try this. I hate doing this, but sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. Okay. So far, not working. Oh. Okay, there we go. Hopefully you all are seeing this. Okay, so real quick, coming down the right side, you'll see releases with the number 1. That is the latest release, again, with known issues. If you want the latest and greatest updates that they've done, as you can see, they even tell you when, all the way down to 3 days ago. What you would do is click code and then download zip. That'll give you what the latest and greatest version is. There may be problems with it they don't know. The one I'm flying on is about a week to 2 weeks old. It's pretty good. It's got one little modification a very trusted friend of mine over at FedEx put together for it. But beyond that, it's it's a flyable. We just flew it from Melbourne to here, and a couple days ago I flew it 8.5 hours from Hong Kong to Melbourne. So it is a very workable aircraft. Like I said, you may run into things. Real quick, I'll point them out to you, but I don't want to take any more time than I already have of your all's Wednesday. But real quick, like if you go to VNav, you're going to see open things like this. This one doesn't really, but this may or may not work. I've run into where I don't really yet know if it works or not fully. But when you go to the takeoff page, these are missing. This part's missing. These don't update properly, but if you type in the numbers, they come up. So, and I didn't put in our VREF for this landing, but you can actually do that. But you have to, instead of, if you're lazy like I was with PMDG, you would have to, click here, enter it here. What you do here instead is just type it out, 30/146, and it goes in. This does not show up. So those are the kinds of things you'll find with it. Folks, it's been a 2-year process with this aircraft, and they have done remarkable things versus the default 747 that's in there. Namely, I'll show you another one here real quick. The old FMC for the default 747 is still here. You can see just how limited it is. So let me get this music out of the background. Okay. So anyway, there's a quick rundown. And again, oh wait, you didn't see any of that. My apologies. Minimize that. So again, just looking at it, you had to type in 30/146 to get this. VNav, you can see there's errors, open boxes you'd have to either fill in manually or the system isn't filling them in yet. They're working hard to get this FMC up to snuff. It's not an easy task. Takeoff. You can see a lot of spots that are open. So anyway, but overall, the plane works. We shot an auto land into Denver as a test. It did work 500 feet a minute. Hey, folks, that's a pretty good landing. So just wanted to run that by y'all. So y'all at least knew, that it is out there. So you just go to that GitHub website. And again, if I didn't put it in the box here, which I thought I did, but I don't think I clicked enter. I sure didn't. So there it is. https://github.com/msparks43/747-400. And that'll get you this aircraft. It comes with Delta, Qantas, Cargolux, trying to think who else, but about a half a dozen liveries. And most of the default liveries, you may have to tweak them slightly to get them to work, only because that's how XP11 is. But we do thank you, folks. And all right, so we are again on the ground at Christchurch, taking a look at our bird out here. Let's try it from this angle. Much better. I like this. All right, there's the bird that flew us in here, the 747 Queen of the Skies, Victor Hotel, Oscar Echo Golf. So, folks, hope you all had a great time. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. And we will be flying one more time before I have to return to work. Finally cleared out of COVID. So, I will be back on shift Friday at the firehouse, which will leave us Saturday. We'll determine if we're going to fly or not. I don't know at this point. But thank you all for joining. Hope you had a great day and have a great Wednesday. God bless, and we'll be talking with you later.